Welcome to Elite Disciples of Shar. I forgot to do a level 16 video. I am level 17 now. Only one minor change in the gear, so it's going to be pretty much the same as level 16 anyways. Still got the Concordant Opposition goggles, and this is something new. So I decided to go with the blue Dragonplate armor instead of the Twink armor that I had. I didn't want to make the investment in the blue Dragon Scale because this is, hypothetically my final heroic life, and I didn't want to invest in that just to use it once. But I decided that because of the armor up changes and the huge advantage of using heavy armor prior to endgame, which is where I used to only do it at endgame so that I could get the big Shadow Dragon Scale 3060 DR armor, I decided I'm going to make a set of red, old school red Dragon Scale plate for this tune. I've had the red shard in my bag for like 3 years, and finally gonna put it to use. And so once I hit level 20, I will use this and convert it to red. I had actually forgotten that you have to make another suit of Dragon Scale and then sort of convert it to red scale. And so had to get it for that purpose anyway, so I decided to get it now and start wearing it for the rest of this life. And that's putting me up quite a bit higher. I've got 109 PRR and 65 MRR. I'm up to 84 armor class. That's a little higher. I think with Spider Skin, yeah, I'm 88. Pretty good for level 17. Got the Bracious a win. I put melee alacrity 10%, so that would be one difference between level 16 and now, because that bumped this up to level 17. So minor difference, but worth pointing out nonetheless. And also, this is exactly the same ring as I had before, but now at level 17 I was able to put a little something extra on there. I put blindness immunity just because I could. Got Greater False Life, and then 2 slots, Diamond of Strength +4 and Charisma +4. I could put Strength and Charisma 5 in there. Those are level 16 augments, but since I'm sitting at even numbers, that's no help. Same boots, Evocation Focus of Fire Absorption 33%. That's Evocation Focus 2 with Vitality 20 augment. And got the Vile Blasphemy, Dex 6, UMD 3 with the Dispelling Guard. Ring of Ice Lore, slotted up with Resistance 5. That's a crafted item. And Health +6 Belt of Electrical Absorption 33% with the large slot slotted with spell points. Cloak of Flames, that's got feather falling on it now, so I moved some things around a little bit actually. Because the feather falling used to be slotted here, but I wanted to, because I moved some things around, I wanted to put the Vitality here. Shamanic Fetish with the Master's Gift, the Torque, and the Concordant, the Mineral 2 Green Steel Helm +45 hit point helmet. Still got the Lit 2 Scimitar. And so here's something, I talked about this in my last video, that's how I could craft something that's going to be more useful for me for than the Wall of Wood. So I want to take a moment to compare these two. And the Wall of Wood is an excellent shield, and I still highly recommend it. But, and with my particular gear set, so much of what's on the Wall of Wood really isn't helping me. So the implement bonus is a plus. The +12 implement bonus there, I'm looking on the left of the Wall of Wood. Natural Armor 4, that doesn't do anything for me because I'm getting that from Spider Skin. Healing Amp 20, it's nice, but I have enough Healing Amp and I'm a really strong healer, so that's just, to me, I see that as marginal. Shield Bashing, that doesn't mean anything to me. Devotion 78, I already have Devotion 72 on the Fetish, so that's marginal. And DR5 slashing doesn't do me any good over using Elemental Toughness, which is the 7th level spell that gives me DR5 across the board, period. So that's better. So The wall of wood wasn't really doing a whole lot for me, and in previous heroic lives, I wasn't using the shamanic fetish. I was getting devotion off of the wall of wood, but now that that's gone, that's just one more reason not to use it. And so what I have here, if you look on the right now, let's move this over so we can see a little bit better. So I have a +4 heavy spirit craft shield of parrying. Now the spirit craft is that absolute minimum level 16 version, and I have a blue slot on it, so that's got physical resistance 10. So I've got the PRR 10 bonus over the wall of wood. I've got parrying 4 on there that gives me +2 insight bonus to armor class, but that doesn't stack with the +2 armor class here. If you look at heightened awareness 2, that is also an insight bonus to save, so that's no good, but I do get a +2 insight bonus to fortitude, reflex, and will save, so that's pretty awesome. An additional +2 to my saves. And if you look at the shield bonus and the damage reduction, they're virtually the same. I actually have one higher shield bonus on my crafted shield, and then next level 18 I'll be able to make that a +5 version of the same thing, so it'll be 2 higher. So I think this crafted shield, a little bit better for the gear that I have, so I'm gonna stick with it. Plus it's a nice looking shield too. Look at that. I like it. I don't think I've seen that artwork before. And then, let's see, for spells, I've picked up Sunburst. So now I have the SLA version and the regular version. Now I like to turn the Empower and Maximize off for the regular version. Now for the SLA, you always want to have all your meta magics on. Right now they're just set to standard because I keep them on all the time. But for the regular version, because I'm really just going for the blinding effect, I'm not interested in trying to, get my light spell power really high and try and do lots of extra damage with that. So just as a little bit of a spell point savings, that's just a personal preference and something to consider. And then I picked up Storm of Vengeance and Mass Regenerate for my level 9 spells. Also picked up the extra level 6 spell, and I chose Fire Seeds. I do like to throw Fire Seeds once in a while. My build never has very good saves with that spell. Sometimes I like to use that on the Abbot, because I don't have a lot of options to use against the Abbot, but he even makes his saves a lot of times. Or if I'm just spamming. Enhancements. So really I have all the essential pieces, and so my last several points have just been sort of filling out some things. Like I get an extra point of Intimidate here. I've finished out the efficient meta magic maximize. I put 3 points into Autumnal Susurrus, which is a pretty nice little bonus 40% chance of applying the shaken condition to targets, which applies a -2 penalty to saves, attack rolls, and skill checks. These are enemies that are hit by my acid, negative, and electric spells. So, and I want to emphasize here that Earthquake counts as an acid spell. Can't remember who pointed that out in the forums quite a while ago, but thank you again for pointing that out. That's pretty awesome. And then also you've got like Storm of Vengeance has electrical damage. But yeah, you throw it on your Earthquake, and then they get affected by that as well. And I picked up the first tier of Season's Greetings, Winter. It would be more optimal for me to get all 3 tiers. As I've talked about in a previous video, I have never been able to get into the habit of toggling that regularly. I tend to just use it for bosses. It would be better to get in the habit of toggling it regularly, because when you have that fully maxed out, you can toggle your season every 7.5 minutes. It's a 5-minute cycle. That means you only have to be out of winter for 2.5 minutes at a time, and then you go right back to winter. But I have never been able to get into the habit of doing that. So that's just me. I'm probably not going to go. I experimented with the Harbor Tree before I went on my Iconic TR binge. you know, there were some nice things over there, but it was just marginal. So I think I'm just going to stick with Season's Herald and the human enhancement trees for the long haul. So I used to use the epic frozen tunic at level 20, and then I would switch to the green light version, and that's not optimal. I should have been using the medium, but I really like the way the light version looks. It's got these awesome green hooker boots, which are just phenomenal. But I'm going to be going with red scale. And I'm probably going to use the Mirror of Glamoring on the green scale so that I can have that look and put it over top of the red. Red looks good too though, but most of the time you can't see it anyways because I'm in elemental form. So I want to do something here. I want to put the wolf on passive. And I'm just going to put it on the body of the sun. I'm just going to let these guys tick away for a minute, just so you can see the kind of damage that body of the sun is doing by itself. .473 was the big number with that tick. So I'm just sitting here. 433 I saw. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, these guys are evading it, so they're taking less. Let's let the dog do his thing there. You can watch his damage by himself. And he's still got the vampiric stone dust hand wraps converted to a collar. Pretty cool. Oh, and that reminds me. I've got some new armor on the wolf for level 16. I have this is a display bug. It says empty blue slot, but right below it you can see it actually has a sapphire of heavy fortification. So this is level 16 Spirit Craft leather. It's got invulnerability on it. It's +5 invulnerability with the blue slot. Now, one thing I missed before is that I left it at +5 invulnerability when it was the lower tier, and I just kind of sat on that, not paying attention to the fact that he had reached his max dex bonus, and so I should have put like a shard, or I should have crafted like mobility onto it to increase the maximum dex bonus of the armor, and that was for the lower tier. Not the skirmish. I'm already forgetting what that was called, but the absolute minimum level 10 version of leather armor. Also, since I have heavy armor proficiency now, which I swapped out. I swapped out improved shield mastery for that because I'm getting a lot more benefit out of heavy armor. Because I have heavy armor proficiency, my wolf does too. But I am not interested in investing in heavy dragon scale for the wolf because he also has to wear like leather or dragon scale. Lots of traps here. Lots of bear traps. What I want to do is let another group of mobs burn up at a firewall so you can compare the difference. You saw the numbers of of the body of the sun. So let's look at a firewall. I don't want to do archers though. I'm going to do some non-evasion mobs. So we're going to let this body of the sun wear off, and the next time we get a group of melee mobs, then we'll make that happen. Whenever I do this quest, I always have issues of figuring out where to go next. And I'm always missing like a lever or something. Yeah, right there. There we go. I've probably only done this quest 10 times or so since it came out. This was part of the... Oh shoot, I didn't want to do this. We can drop out of form. I'm gonna bring the wolf back here. Put him on passive. Oh, these are all archers anyways. Never mind. My Guilty Terror here is telling me about a game in Entropia Universe or something like that, I think is what it's called, and how it's telling me about the real money economy, and people can buy like virtual real estate and get dividends off of it that they convert to real money. Wow, that's just crazy. I would never want to be playing an MMO where it dealt with basically like, you know, mixing like the stock market or the real estate market with your gaming experience. And people are gonna get real serious when it's real money at stake like that. No, thank you. I am quite happy paying my $10 a month for this fine game. Okay, here we go. Wolf on passive. We're gonna let him burn up in a firewall. Boom. So what kind of... Oh, I just saw 710, 265, 285. So I was just talking in a recent video how, you know, it scales on its own better than Firewall does. Like, this is a maximize and empower Firewall. Okay, and this is lasting 30 seconds only, and this is costing me 66 spell points. And obviously it's stationary. Whereas Body of the Sun lasts a minute, and because it's extended, and only costs me 50 spell points, and does not have to be maximized or empowered. So there's no extra spell point. So generally speaking, Body of the Sun is superior to, or at least competitive with Firewall. See if we can try it one more time to get another look at some numbers here. Just gonna let them burn up to watch some numbers. And apparently that Firewall is a dud. You know, that's a this is an example of how, you know, it gets on a certain pixel just right, and it is functionally not there. Here we go. So now it's working. 158, 234, 265, 285, 295. So the numbers, I think, were better on the Body of the Sun. So I just hit that guy with all my SLAs. Oop. And let's turn on the wolf. Let's let the wolf fight him, see what happens. Watch some more wolf numbers. I really regret not, earlier I wanted to do a video like single digit levels, like one of my like level 4 or 5 quests where I just let the wolf and summons do the whole thing so you could see what kind of numbers they were putting up. And that was back when my summons and my wolf had plus 14 to stats because I had augment summoning then, and I had the thing from the Harper tree going. That was just badass. I was grouped with somebody yesterday who said that he said he liked my videos. Appreciate that very much. He said that he'd like to see me do like a First Life series where it was a class that I wasn't used to playing. He's like, on your favorite Soul one, you know exactly what to do because you played him before. He's like, play a class that you're not familiar with, so that it's a whole learning process for you. And I was like, well, that would basically be a melee class, and I hate melees, and it would just be watching me make a fool of myself. It might be kind of funny, but I don't know there'd be a lot of real value in me doing a series like that. I really do like my casters. Let's let the wolf do his thing. The cold damage there was just the creeping cold SLA. So you can see the +1s that are coming up. That's the vampirism. So he's getting healed from that item. Really, really cool item. Let's see if he can overcome that dude's healing. It's not a high DPS collar, but it just has some neat procs like the stoning. And then I can't wait till next level I get my Phantasmal Killer collar, the Thorac from Hound of Zoriat. That is such a phenomenal collar. It's so much fun to have your wolf running around with that. It's just like a monkey using that. The wolf attacks so fast that it procs a lot, and it's really cool to watch your wolf insta-kill mobs with the Phantasmal Killer proc. Gonna let him burn up again in the body. I could just stand here, and these mobs can't touch me. That's why, it really emphasizes you go with the heavy armor. Now, I do want to point out again that I do have a lot of bonus armor class from Epic Past Lives. Now, I'm sitting at 3 × 9, 27 extra armor class right now. And as soon as I get to 20, that'll be 36 extra armor class because it tiers for every 10 levels. And when they raise the level cap to 30, it will theoretically go up to 45 extra armor class just from Past Lives. So, I'd be at 62 AC right now, which for level 17 is pretty good. And that would be without any. Those are the martial Past Lives, and that's why in my build post I talk about, that I recommend getting the martial Past Lives, Epic Past Lives first. Really, and I should point out that that's if you're going to do some more heroic TRing, because that extra AC in heroics is just gigantic. 27 basically free extra AC in heroics is going to make you untouchable in a lot of content. I'm just letting the archers just try to shoot me, see what kind of numbers they're hitting me. -5, -2. Oh, the torque just proc there. It's like they can barely touch me. So here's the Creeping Cold SLA. This is the 2 spell point thingy. 3 spell points. 1 night. Snarl spoiled our fun. think I'm gonna get rid of Snarl, because I wanna... Let's see, here's the produce flame on the archer. 652 for produce flame. Here's creeping cold. Remember, it starts out the way, if you're not familiar with creeping cold, the first ticks are low and then it creeps up. So that's 3 spell point SLA took that dude out. That's like, it didn't even tick fully, so on this guy it'll do all its ticks. So you see the first 2 are the same tier, and then the next 2 are the same tier. That looks like that one crit. Then the next 2 are the same tier, and now I think this will be the biggest tier here coming up. Now I'm not sort of petered out. Now let's compare that to greater creeping cold. So this is costing me a lot more spell points. So first tier was just as much as the last tier of regular creeping cold. And bear in mind I am in fire elemental form. So let's go to water elemental form and see what happens. I'm going to stay in water elemental form for the next guy. Oh, it's still ticking. Sweet. Yeah, it got up to... Oh, look at that. Hitting for about 1,000 per tick there. That's pretty huge at this level. Pretty awesome. Back to fire now. Oh, you can see the blue armor. It's very, very... I mean, it's among the best looking armor in the game. The blue dragon scales. Really nice looking. That was the Call Lightning SLA 766. Produce Flame 571. Oh, and that was not in fire elemental form, so Produce Flame might do a little bit more. This is the part that always gets me. There's all these levers behind gates and... There's our shrine. Let's do a Storm of Vengeance and see what kind of numbers that's putting up right now. Now, bear in mind, I don't have a corrosion item, but I do have potency 54, I think, on the armor. 52. And I have no acid lore. One of the things that's really cool about a Storm of Vengeance is that the acid does acid damage and electrical damage. The acid damage, there's no save for. So I'm just going to throw the Storm of Vengeance and nothing else. So the acid damage is the sort of the constant ticking damage, and then like every few seconds, one lightning bolt strikes a random mob within its area. So by itself, not too terribly impressive, but can really help to chew down mobs when you combine it with like Ice Storm and Earthquake and all that other stuff. There you can compare a Firewall and an Ice Storm. I should have went into water for the Ice Storm. Oh, you can't see the numbers. Oh, a little bit. Can't see the ice storm numbers. I'll see if I can do that comparison again and do the Firewall in Fire LA form, and then do the ice storm in water elemental form. I'm gonna do a word of balance here. See if it hits this guy for 411. So he's only one step away from neutral. So he only ticked once. Now, as maintenance healing, I like to keep like a vigor, unmaximized, unempowered, unquickened. So I'm able to sort of maintain my healing for, this is 12 spell points. If I don't need the big quick burst, that's a really, really cheap way to keep yourself healed. And then when you do need the big quick burst, that's what heal is for. I need to get rid of regenerate now, because I have mass regenerate. Mass regenerate is so awesome. It cures negative levels and stat damage, and it's just a beautiful thing. I haven't really talked about what my saves are at. Let's see here. So McCall Lightning 33. Firewall 35. Sunburst 38. Earthquake, not even using that really that much, 38. There's no save on Produce Flame. There's no save on Creeping Cold or Greater Creeping Cold. No save on the acid damage for Storm of Vengeance.
A group of worshippers surrounds a massive altar to the dark goddess Shar. How dare you come to see
I'll do a Firewall. That was Word of Balance hit for 813. Water elemental form. We're already in winter season. I don't have cold spray yet to make him take more damage from cold spells, but we'll hit the spell power boost, hit him with creeping cold and greater creeping cold, and see what happens. That's all I'm hitting him with, is just the 2 creeping colds. Now when you switch elemental forms, even though it looks like you're sort of coming out of elemental form and then going into other one, you do retain your elemental toughness. But if I were to leave elemental form outright, it is gone, and if I were to go back into it, it doesn't come back. You have to recast elemental toughness. But switching from one elemental to another, you're okay. water here. Spell power boost. And that's the 2 creeping colds again. Let's do Storm of Vengeance, just for purposes of being able to see the numbers isolated from other numbers. Body of the Sun.
Edric Black is down, prisoner. You should speak with the Shar priest. Edric Black.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. If you have questions about my build, you can respond on the DDO forums in the Druid page. And if you are on Sarlona, you are welcome to send me a tell.